excited. I think it's pretty good.
Hey guys, my name is Shawn and this is another episode of Dangerous Ideas where I talk about concepts and frameworks that will change your life. Change your business, change your company, change your industry, but most importantly, it will change your life. In this podcast, what we do is we break down all these different concepts. These are things that I believe in or that I see, and we also try to loop in some current events. Now, as it turns out, we actually shot like the most epic podcast ever. It was an hour and a half with Neve, my creative lead. We talked about a whole bunch of different subjects, and as it turns out, the pod didn't work. So this is why we're doing it. We're trying this out. This episode is sub 10 episodes. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, we're getting our footing in. We're trying to figure it out. So these are part of the experiments that we're making, and that didn't work out. But at least I'm fresh. I know these different concepts, and I'm gonna bring it to you straight here. So let's get into it to start. The first concept that I want to talk about is this idea of there is a blessing in failure. There is a blessing in failure. It's the idea that part of the reason that we don't want to fail is that we think that it's going to have negative consequences. But if we actually flip it, we can actually see that there is often a upside. There's often amazing opportunities because of failure at the end of the day. Let me give you a couple examples. One of my favorite examples is Conan O'Brien. So Conan O'Brien's life goal was to be a writer for David Letterman on his late night show. And when he applied and he didn't get it, that was like his biggest failure. But what he didn't realize is that because of that, he applied to other jobs. He ended up getting onto Simpsons and SNL, ended up writing for SNL, obviously under Lorne Michaels. And when Lorne Michaels and the team were looking for a late night host, a late TV host, they actually tapped Conan O'Brien. And at that point, it was unheard of. Conan was not even on television. He was barely on SNL, and they tapped him to be the new late night guy, and that was completely unheard of. But it's only because he didn't get that job for David Letterman that he was able to do that. And so there's a blessing in failure. Another great example is The Rock. So The Rock always wanted to be, a football player. He actually tried out in the NFL. He played in the CFL for a little bit for the Calgary Stampeders. That didn't work out. And of course, we know the story of The Rock. He went into the WWF, became one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, my favorite wrestler of all time. And then, of course, we know him today. He's like the biggest star in the world today. And he wouldn't have been that hadn't he failed. So there is always a blessing in failure. You can see this in organizations as well. A great example is Microsoft. Listen, Microsoft failed in getting into mobile. They were very successful in the desktop era, as we all know. We all are Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Word and PowerPoint. They literally built the operating system for that. And so when mobile was big, what they did was they literally copied and pasted like that desktop onto mobile. And of course, it doesn't work. It's an entirely different UI, UX, entirely different experience. They failed in mobile. Of course, Apple dominated in this space, but because of that failure, they learned from it. And because of that, they learned how to navigate the other paradigm shifts, cloud and artificial intelligence. And that's why they doubled down on Azure for their cloud business. And now what they're doing with the next paradigm shift around AI and how they're so heavily invested into OpenAI, because that is the next paradigm shift. But so because of that failure in mobile, they are where they are today. And that's the blessing in failure. So very important. The second concept is this idea of having the longest view in the room. Having the longest view in the room. What does that mean? That means being very, diligent, very having the longest view in the room is this idea of being okay being the joke. Having ideas that are counterintuitive or having ideas that ultimately people don't believe in today, but in the long run, they will succeed. And that requires you to struggle. It requires you to have a thick skin because there's gonna be people around you that don't believe in your particular ideas. Some great examples. I know we mentioned Mr. Beast a ton in these episodes because our entire crew here we love Mr. Beast. But Mr. Beast for 5-6 years came out with hundreds of different videos. He didn't succeed, and then eventually, he became the biggest YouTuber on the planet. James Dyson, this guy created, 5,000 prototypes before any of his prototypes succeeded. 15 years and just grinding. Like, who would spend that much time? But he believed in what he believed. Some things that I believe in today is brand. I think brand equity. I think creating content is such an important way of connecting with others, building a fan base. And I think as AI and digital becomes more ubiquitous and everybody has an AI co-pilot, at the end of the day, what's going to matter? And I believe brand is going to matter so much. So that's something that I believe in that absolutely is going to be fruitful in the future. And maybe that's just my view, but that's my longest view in the room. And so, and there's many things that I believe that I guess are the longest view in the room. And to understand what your longest view in the room is, you have to ask the question, what is one truth that you believe in that no one believes in yet? Let me repeat. What is one truth that you believe in that no one believes in yet? And in order to find the longest view in the room, you have to ask yourself that question. And when you ask that question, you are naturally going to find things that other people disagree with you on. And that's actually a good thing. So have the longest view in the room. The next concept or framework is this idea that it's the idea that we have fundamentally coddled our society, that there's a general coddling of society that's happening. And this is near and dear to my heart. Listen, I have kids. I got 3 kids. And I'm trying to figure out how they can struggle, how they can have a harder life at the end of the day. And for some reason, we have coddled our society. I think part of the reason why we've coddled our society is that because everything is on demand. Everything is seamless at 24/7. We tap a button, we have food delivered to our door. We don't have to interact with a person to get it. We tap a button, we have boxes thrown at our door. We don't have to interact with a soul to get our boxes. We tap a button, we have every show and every movie on demand. It's at our fingertips. We don't have to struggle at all. We don't have to struggle. We have coddled our society. And I'm going to say this with peace and love, but we're teaching an entire generation of people to not work hard, to not struggle, and every little thing is going to affect them. And we've taught people that you have to that you can't wait to have a promotion, you can't wait to get a salary boost, you can't wait to do all these things. Listen, I embrace and I love the ambition. I love the ability for people to have unrealistic goals. But you have to work to get that. You have to work unbelievably hard to get that. The reason why that I understand this, I guess, or I've come up with this concept is I remember hiring people at Deloitte, like really smart, ambitious, intellectual individuals. And right away, the conversation, within 6 months or a year is like, how do I get promoted? How do I get a salary? Or I deserve something more. Or I deserve a title. I deserve this because I already did this work. Like, I did this work. Where's my carrot? And the reality is that just because you do something doesn't mean that you get something right away. I get it. When you press a button, you get a show. I get it. When you press a button, you get food delivered to you. You press a button and a car is delivered at your beck and call. But that doesn't mean that you get something right away. In fact, you have to do, like in the real world, you have to do something over and over and over and over again extremely well. And then maybe there is a chance of getting something at the end of the day. That's what it means to struggle, to work hard. And this is not me on my old man porch, telling young people to work hard. But, I remember when I was getting my CA, my CPA, which I don't use anymore. But it was like I had to do the modules. I had to work I had to work, 80-hour weeks and then, you know, study on top of that. When I got into management consulting, it's like 80 hours a week for like 12 years of just grinding and getting to a particular point. And because of that struggle, because of that hard work, because of getting punched in the face every single day, nothing will phase you later on. Like you're able to de-risk, de-stress because you've seen everything. And what I see today is a lot of young people with minor inconveniences, they like melt down. I see it. People on Twitter. Your flight is delayed. My flight is canceled. Your food didn't arrive. You didn't get the promotion. You didn't get what you. Yeah. Guess what? Life goes on. You got to keep. So to me, it's like, how do we get people to struggle, and how do we get people to embrace a little bit of failure? And to be honest with you, we've coddled our society. One of the things that my wife and I do with our kids is to get them to watch linear television, like old school television, so that when they watch television, they have to go through the pain of watching these badass commercials, okay? And it's like struggle through the commercials, and then you will learn that, not everything is handed to you. Hey, there's going to be a show on that you don't like, so that maybe you should go off and start playing and doing something, introducing those pieces where people can struggle, really important. So there's a general coddling of society that's happening. The next concept and framework is this idea of the one true fan. The one true fan. A number of years ago, Kevin Kelly came up with this idea of 1,000 true fans. It's this idea that by having 1,000 true fans, you can actually build a great business. 1,000 true fans paying $10 a day, that's like $100,000. That's a great life. And his idea is that because of the internet, because the world is fractured, that you can just find 1,000 people to pay you $10 a month, and you will be successful at the end of the day. And I think you're starting to see that come into fruition today because of Patreon and all these different sites, subscription sites, where you can get 1,000 true fans. But I believe in this idea of the one true fan. And I wrote about this in my book. It's the idea that the world is completely fractured, and that if you cater your content, your beliefs, your whatever you're putting out in the world to that one true fan, that's all you need at the end of the day. And the reason is that if you just cater to that one particular persona, you're actually going to eventually find people around you that actually have the same interest and the same beliefs as that one true fan. So, I'm an example of this. I've been putting out content when it comes to innovation and disruption for years, catering to that one person that really loves that stuff, that really loves figuring out how to create value in new ways at the end of the day. And I have done this throughout my career, and I found this to be valuable. So find that one person, that one true fan at the end of the day. In the deleted episode that never came out, Neve and I actually talked about the Nelk Boys and how they basically cater. Well, not only are they a reflection of hockey culture, but I think frat boy, Canadian hockey culture. But not only are they a reflection of it, but that was their sort of initial fan base, and because of that, now they have amplified. Their hockey culture fan base to other people. And Eve brought up a really insightful point, which is if you go to Texas, there is an entire crop of individuals that are now Canadian hockey boys because of Nelk, which is I'm gonna double click on this and see if I can see this culture play out. But I love it because they identified the one true fan that they had, and now they are a reflection on that around society. I mean, there's definitely a psychological study that we need to make on the Nelk Boys. But anyways, one true fan, really important. The next concept or framework that I've been obsessed about, and I'm trying to understand why this is the case, is the idea that we are obsessed with the crown. we are obsessed with the crown. We are obsessed about who is the top dog in our field. If you look throughout media, entertainment, politics, science, everyone is obsessed with the top dog. When we watch sports, we just obsess about who is the GOAT, who is the greatest of all time. If you see the shows and the episodes that these sports media guys put out, the highest clicks will be around who is the best player in the NBA, who is the best player in the NFL, who is the greatest of all time. These get the most clicks. If you look at all the shows that we watch, the best shows in the world, Game of Thrones, literally The Crown, Succession, they're all about who is the top dog. We are obsessed with rankings and lists. Like, I'll be honest, if somebody puts out a tweet, they put out an episode on the best rapper to ever live, I'm probably going to click on it. We are so obsessed with this idea of the crown, who is the top dog. And maybe it goes back to this idea of mimetic desire, the idea that we are constantly modeling the behaviors of others. And one of the outcomes of mimetic desire is this idea of status. Status is hardwired in our DNA. We always want something that somebody else has. And maybe being the top dog is something that we inherently want. This is not only things that we witness in the media or entertainment or in politics, but it's something that happens, within any field that you're in. If you work for a law firm or a consulting firm or accounting firm, like everybody wants to be not everybody, but we always look at the partner. She is the top dog in this particular field. If you are in sales, we're like, oh, that person is the top salesperson. We debate, we talk, we love just obsessing over the crown. I mean, this is why, for example, the royal family, they have no value on society. I mean, God bless them. They're probably really nice people, but they have no value to society, yet we obsessed with them because we love this idea of the crown. And maybe it goes back to this idea that we want to worship, we want to believe in like a higher being in some sort of way. I believe that individuals are the new religions, but we are obsessed with the crown. So that's a concept or framework. I don't know what opportunities there are around that. I don't know, but to be honest with you, if you want to create a show, if you want to create clicks, likes, if you want to have a great debate, just debate on the crown in any particular field, and you will achieve the eyeballs that you want. The next concept is this idea of the embrace waste theory. It's this theory that in a highly digital world, focusing on extraordinary, high-touch human experiences can result in disproportionate value. Let me repeat, that in a highly digital world, focusing on extraordinary, high-touch human experiences can result in disproportionate value. What does this mean? That means that today, listen, we live in a highly digital world. Everything is AI, digital, cloud-based, and then doing things that are more human, more tangible, more tactical, actually create more value. An example of this, listen, you can send a text message to someone. That's going to create a lot of value, right? It's fast, it's easy, but you're going to get disproportionate value in doing something slower, and that takes more effort, like a handwritten note or seeing somebody in person, having a coffee with somebody. That's going to create more value. And so one of the things that we did in our theaters, and this is an elegant hack, you can steal it. We did all these presentations, and we still do these presentations in theaters with like a whole production crew. The reason why we do that is because in a highly digital world that we do today, by showcasing and showing people that we are putting in effort, actually what happens is that the value and the meaning of what we're trying to say actually gets elevated in some sort of way. I mean, we're doing this podcast. I have a decent podcast mic. I don't have a podcast stand if you're watching this, but, I have a decent podcast mic. And by the way, there's cameras here, and we're in a studio. And guess what? You're going to value this a little bit more because I'm putting in effort. This is what embrace waste means. If you waste your money, if you waste your time, if you waste your effort, it will result in disproportionate value, especially in a digital world. So what does this mean? It means focus on things that are more meaningful, magical, memorable, awe-inspiring, tangible, human, like in person, Focus on those things, and it will result in disproportionate value. In a world where everything is direct to consumer, fast, you tap a button and food is delivered to your door. You tap a button and somebody comes, and picks you up, just like the coddling of society. Doing things that are slow, doing things that are meaningful, will give you so much more value. So I believe in this concept so much. This is like one of my longest views in the room, that I will put all my money down. And because as human beings, we love and appreciate effort at the end of the day. So these are concepts and frameworks that will change your life. And if you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed this solo pod, I wish you could do me a favor. Like and rate and follow this on any platform that you're on. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you are. We're going to be dropping a whole bunch of more episodes around dangerous ideas and starting to promote this more regularly, so you can find other dangerous people that are into dangerous ideas. Thank you so much.